What is up, gang? Welcome back to the stream. Let us recommence. We are standing in the depths of the forest, and the cave in front of you just found seems very recently disturbed. There's lots of fresh signs of both tracks leading in and out of this other creature that you weren't really aware of. You see the vegetation freshly broken and moved across the entrance to this. The rest of the forest continues on and around up over this hill, but this little hill embankment here, you see the cave going deep down underneath. It is pitch black inside. Those of you in night vision can see as if in dim light. But the rest of you are only able to see as far as the light trickles down into the cave. The first few steps of it are roughly hewn staircase-looking steps out of the stone itself, and they descend down into the dark.
Okay. Tom is going to cast light on his weird lantern to give us some illumination as we walk into this place.
Okay. Yeah, you cast light on the lantern. It begins glowing. This soft light out of the crystal structure.
I believe it's 40 feet. Is it
40
range.
or 30?
It's 20 for bright and 20 for dim, so 40 total.
Feet. Okay, so you can see dimly to 40 feet, brightly for 20. As you have this light illuminate down, you hold it over the mouth. You see that it descends probably 15 feet or so into the hillside down. The walls themselves are hewn from the stone. You can tell by tool marks. There are small motifs of chains that run along the sides of the halls down deep within. As you hold the lantern over, you hear the sounds of like eating, of like crunching and snapping of dry sounding something like twigs,
like something is eating.
Yeah,
like
and you hear the
bones.
smacking and the chewing as you peer down over into the dark.
Well, of course.
Looked at Emily just to see if she still got that berry.
Hope you guys have some spells ready because I've already burned everything I have.
I have literally cantrips and one spell left, and none of them are offensive.
This is gonna go great.
Fun. Yeah, I'm going to... Can I just fly to, like, the dim area of the light and try to blend in a little bit, rolling a stealth check?
Sure, yeah, you get yourself into the dim area, flying just on the edge of the lantern vision. Please go ahead and make a stealth check for us. You are thinking you are being very, very stealthy as you blend into the dim light, just flickering right on the edge of sight as far as you can tell. Do you advance down into the darkness?
Emily did not account for Tom stomping loudly in his heavy metal armor directly behind her.
Yeah.
That and, like, I'm a pixie, so any light kind of makes me shine. So, yeah.
You leave like glitter in the air whenever you fly around.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, I'm
sparkle
gonna go.
away.
Yeah, I'm gonna go between the bright light and dim, so I'll be 20 feet ahead, and I'll
Alright.
lead because I
Yeah.
think I'm in.
Do we only fit one after the other?
You can fit two.
You know, I'm
abreast. It's a 10-foot wide little kind of staircase down. The portal into the hill is also roughly the size of a 10-foot.
Okay, so I think marching order then is Emily in the front with about a 20-foot lead, and then I'm guessing Gormak and Tom taking the front with Janlar and Rose in the rear.
Sure.
How high is the roof?
Initially, where you're entering in, the roof is above 10 feet high. The roof doesn't change in height as you go in, so as it descends down, it gets higher and higher.
Okay.
Perfect. I'm just gonna stay close to the roof. So.
Okay. Cool. You fly up high.
Something
over the
something
roof.
can't just be standing there and then take a swing at me. You know, like
You're flying along the top of this as the party descends down the stairs. As you descend down, the lantern illuminates more of this chain motif as it descends about 15 feet and opens up into a wide room. Tom, you immediately recognize this place as something of a temple. You've opened up onto the floor, this large kind of mosaic tiled floor at the bottom of the stairs. The pattern inside of it reminds you of some kind of ritualistic circle. There are pews that line each of the walls to either side of you, facing into the circle. At the center is a shrine of this fist that holds up a little altar, and around the fist is wrapped interlocking chains. As you hit to the final stair, the five of you see as the light illuminates body of something very human, broken
Before
up.
we go any further, there was a lot of symbology that we passed.
Yes, sir.
I have both a history and religion proficiency. Would I be able to discern what kind of religion we're walking into, like what kind of temple this is?
Please make a religion check. Religion intelligence, I believe.
Okay, so +3.
Also,
14.
for record keeping, when we hear the smacking, crunching, chewing noises, Gormak's just gonna go ahead and pull out his axe and have that prepared already.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So you spend a little bit of time as before you truly descend down, looking at the like chains, and you determine that the religion is old and ancient. Probably something before the time that Burgess was widely worshipped, but what specifically it is, you're not sure.
Okay, and it doesn't seem like a modern. I get that it's of ancient roots, but it seems like something that has also kind of vanished from the world, right?
You
like
don't
it's not
recognize it
Okay.
as being worshipped currently. No.
Okay.
As the five of you descend to the final bit and the light illuminates the circle around you, you see at the center of it a human body that seems to have been broken and into pieces. And looming over it is this cross of maybe man and beast with long arms covered in fur and leaves, and it's sitting over it, just chomping away at a piece of this body. The bones are breaking and crackling in its mouth, and it chews loud on the flesh of it. As you approach it, it looks up and kind of curls over this body protectively, like, mine.
Fine by me. What is this place?
It's his cave. Mine. Do not.
Are
So I take it you're not an adherent to this temple?
What is temple? No, I came here for tasty morsels.
I kind of like take a close look at this body that is shielding. Does it look like the young girl's body that led the guy out here? Into the forest?
Yeah, you kind of move forward, take a look. As you do so, he kind of hisses at you.
I'm not gonna take your body. I just want to see it.
But yes, as you get a good look at it, it does appear to be that of a young teenage girl. Although it is definitely old. Maybe a day old as far as you can tell. It doesn't seem to be freshly killed. The blood is no longer freshly running, and there's bite marks on much of it. Like, it seems to have been partially consumed by whatever stands over this.
So you killed this girl?
No, Gurgle does not kill. Gurgle just finds munchings and crunchings and he eats.
I see.
You're not the beast, then.
I am Gurgle.
Do you know what killed it? Or do you know what killed her?
No.
Well, Gurgle, I would recommend not staying here. This place is an ancient temple. You might be disturbing dangerous forces by being here.
I just get munchings and crunchings. I do not want curses or thwackings.
Yes, you should probably leave as soon as you can then.
He begins picking up the corpse and putting it under his arm and he puts like a femur in his mouth and just like starts dragging the torso with him as he begins going past you up the stairs.
Nah, I'm not gonna let that shit fly. I'm gonna start initiative.
Oh shit.
I'm gonna attack him with vicious mockery.
Okay, yeah. How do you mock him?
Oh, he's so fucking foul. So I'm just insulting and calling him a foul beast.
Gargle, that foul beast! He is going to roll to save.
Munchies and crunchies. Did you learn to rhyme in grade school?
No, I do wonder.
He fails his wisdom save. But he takes 1 psychic damage. He's like, Gargle, not foul beast. Gargle, proud. Gargle. And he, like, shakes and is upset, and he hisses at you.
With the light on him, could you like describe him a little bit? Or he said like something between man and beast.
Yeah, he's a weird kind of man-beast hybrid, covered in long fur. His face is almost snout-like, but those other features seem fairly humanoid. His overlong arms that can almost reach the floor, you think, if he were to stand up, but powerful and muscular. He has wide feet, but vaguely humanoid in most respects beyond that. There's like dried kind of bloody bits mished in around his fur, around his face. Very unclean. Definitely doesn't seem like he's washed in maybe ever. The Gurgle just kind of like hisses at you and just crouches. It just stops moving right after you mock it. It just curls up over its dead body. Like, am I?
Is he some kind of fey creature, or not that I've ever seen before?
You haven't seen a creature like this before. Would you like to try to determine if it was fey in some way?
Sure. Yeah.
How do you go about doing that?
What are Minotaur Fey relations like? I know the invading Fey used them as line breakers. Are they on like bad terms now, or?
You tell me. How do you feel about Fey?
I think it depends on the Fey, because there's 2 different courts of Fey, right? There's like the good Fey and bad Fey.
Yeah, you're drawing from the Seelie and the Unseelie Fae more than I am. I'm using them as inspiration. They have a winter and a summer court, essentially.
Okay. With the summer court,
same way.
The winter court invaded, and the summer court helped protect the world from the winter court.
Summer court was not in power. The summer court did nothing. The summer court was in its hometown, just chilling, doing nothing. So let me.
Life.
So, the court of Kor. He is the king of the Wintry Court in a powerful archfey. In Elven mythos, the Winter Court represents the severity, hardships, and isolation of winter. And these aspects of life are necessary to balance out the other aspects of life, right? And so the Court of Kor rules during winter times in Fey culture, right, in the old Elven way. And it was at this time the rifts opened, and so Kor and his court was in charge and ruling when the rifts were opened. The Court of Elise is the queen of a more summery court, represents kind of the warmth and joy and growth of summer. You may hold allegiance more or less to either one, but depending on the time in old Elven culture, you would be loyal to both. They're both considered rulers in their time. There's a balance between them. So there's a little like history breakdown on that.
Okay, so I think Gormak prefers summery Fey, like presumably like Emily and Rose are, versus like wintry ones. Just because the wintry ones, I think he feels like kind of used the Minotaur people as tools rather than individuals.
Sure.
So I would want to know if this was some kind of winter Fey creature.
Cool. How do you do that? How do you go about determining that?
Probably history.
Okay, you want to draw upon your historical knowledge of Fey creatures? Sure.
Yeah, my rockin' historical knowledge of the Fey. Let's see here. I think that works. Let's see, history. Yeah, that'll be pretty standard. I don't think I'm doing this right. There. I think that's right? Yeah.
You have no idea whether or not this is a Fey creature.
Okay. Good to know.
All right. So, Gurgle sits hunched over his prey. All right. It's not necessarily his prey. His meal that he has found. And he hisses at Emily. What do you do?
Don't you hiss at me, you foul beast. I'll just keep doing vicious mockery.
Okay. All right. You mock him again. Go ahead and roll some damage. I don't think it's capable of passing. Oh, it does! As you mock it, it screams kind of gutturally as you're trying to mock it. And seems to counteract whatever magic psychic power you
Just
had.
plugged its ears. Just no, I'm not listening.
Essentially, yeah, it counteracts it.
Yeah.
After being attacked again, it kind of begins hulking up a little bit. You can see this is like kind of an anger in its eyes, and it throws down the pieces of this body and lunges up to you to try to grab and grapple you out of the air.
It's trying to grab Emily.
Yes.
I
I
grab
think
it.
it's time to do initiative after.
All right.
I assume it's going to go first, but
All
then-
right, yeah. Everybody then, let's roll initiative against Garko.
Just a flat d20.
Hey.
Hey, look at that.
No.
Alrighty, so we have Janlar at 9. We have Gormak at 13. We have Tom at glorious 18. We have Rose at 16. And we have Emily at a glorious 4. Alright, so this thing reacts before the other 4 of you can really get involved. And it lunges forward to try and grab at Emily and pull her out of the air. So we're gonna have a grapple check here. You can resist that with your acrobatics or your athletics.
Dex, obviously.
Yes, sir.
With vicious mockery. No, it wouldn't count. 'Cause it was
He
previous,
he passed his save against it. So yeah, you try to fly away from it, but he reaches up and snatches you, grabs you in his hands, and he just begins chanting like, "No, I am Gargo, not a vicious beast. Gargo, not a vicious beast." And he just begins squeezing the air out of you as best he can. Emily, it is your turn on the round. What do you do?
I'm gonna viciously mock him again.
Okay, alright. You are getting squeezed quite a bit, but you manage to pipe out some more vicious mocks at him. Do you
Call that squeezing? You wait till Gormak gets a hold of you.
Wonderfully done, wonderfully done. He fails his save. He shakes his hand. He's like, "No! No, I squeeze!" But he will take
disadvantage
more
on his
damage.
Back.
Yes. So that brings us to the top of the round. Tom, you've seen all of this transpire. What do you do?
Okay. I don't want to fight this guy because that's a pretty high roll that he made, grabbing Emily out of the air. Plus, I don't want to kill this guy. Tom is going to cast Thaumaturgy and make himself bigger. He's gonna grow in size substantially.
Okay.
And he's going to say, "Enough!" And he's gonna try and catch this thing's attention. Say, "Emily, quit casting your magics, and you release the fairy and walk out of this place. Leave the body behind,
Okay.
or we'll destroy you and scour you to the winds."
Ooh, this seems like a very intimidating check.
Yeah.
Please roll to intimidate.
All right. What attribute?
You're using your charisma, I believe,
Okay.
to intimidate.
So that's just +1.
Yeah. Excellent roll. Yes. You say that, and he just kind of lets go of Emily and kind of turns around.
I think Tom steps forward from there and is back out of this place now, and he's kind of trying to get him to leave and go up the stairs.
Excellent. You step forward. You tell that you can definitely tell his face drains and is pale. Rose, you act next. What do you do?
Right, I'm gonna step next to Tom, I guess. So I'm right in between the group and the preacher, and just going to put my like quarterstaff next to my side, just so that I'm, we're building like a barrier in between, so there's like enough of this nonsense, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay, you join Tom in looking ferocious. All right, excellent. That leads us to Gargle. Lets go of Emily and looks at Tom and looks to Rose and goes, "No, don't beat. I will leave. No smackings and thwackings for me."
All right, and yeah, I think Tom is slowly moving forward, but as long as he's backing up out of the stairs,
he begins to back up with you. He does reach out with his long arms to grab
and
a
Tom's
piece of
no,
the body.
Leave the body.
He just drops it and will scurry quickly backwards up out of the cave.
All right.
All right.
Well, once we're done here, we'll take her body back to the village.
When the obviously he's run off, you see the sigh of oh thank God, because he had me. But, Emily flies down to the little girl's body and kneels by her head and closes her eyes and rests her hand on her forehead and is whispering sweet nothings to you would to a child that's going to sleep.
Mm-hmm. So
I think Tom probably seems surprisingly dispassionate to that situation. He sees this young girl who's been brutally murdered, and he seems relatively unconcerned with that whole scenario. He wants to bring her body back because as a cleric, that's what you do, right? You need to bury the dead because otherwise they stop being dead, and that's even worse.
Right.
But he seems relatively unconcerned with this whole event that's transpired.
Mm-hmm. Janlar, you've just entered a strange temple to some other old religion. What are you doing? What are you feeling?
Yeah, now that creature's out of the way, I would start investigating this area further, looking on the walls, and just kind of looking around this place.
Sure. As you take a look around, you notice that on the opposite side of the altar, the chains that kind of wrap around artistically the walls end up in a portrait of some kind behind the shrine, as this dark shadowy figure is bound in these golden chains, reaching out but locked in the embrace of the chains. Around the temple, you find some gemstones that are kind of embedded into the walls on various sections. They're marking the chains themselves. The stones are roughly cut, dark, ruddy red that kind of flash in the light, not brilliantly, but kind of dimly. They kind of remind you of blood. There's also a small pouch of gray, dry powder sitting on the shrine, on the little altar being held up by the fist, and along with the remains of some candles. They're purple wax that have been wrapped around with kind of golden lacquered chains that run up to the wick. They hold in little bronze catchings, pots basically, for the catching of the wax drippings. Some of them are in various forms and conditions. Seems that over time they've kind of broken down. There are 4 of them that seem fairly well intact, just kind of in the corners of the altar. Beyond that, there's not too much out of place here. It does seem to be very much like a little shrine or temple tucked in this wood to whatever they worshipped.
I'm sorry, did you say the chains were broken?
On what?
You said there were chains, right?
Yes, this is a common motif here. Which chains are you
Oh, I
referring to?
thought you said there were chains on the ground as well.
Oh, the chains seem like they're all broken. It's a deliberate thing.
No, I was asking if there were
There's
chains.
no broken chains. The chains are...
Oh, you said it's a common motif with broken chains for a second. I was
No,
very
chains are. All the chains are here, and they're wrapping around. I don't remember saying broken chains.
No,
Which
I was
ones are
asking.
you...
No, I was just asking if they were changed. They were physical chains over.
No, they're tied. They're built. They're carved into the walls like artistically, like motif, as they wrap around onto this portrait of a figure who is wrapped up in them as he reaches out. There are chains that are colored basically or lacquered onto the candles as they wrap around them. The bag with dryness doesn't have a chain on it, but no, there's not like physically broken chains hanging out here.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I say it looks like something possibly used to be held here, maybe a magic ritual.
I think we need to go in deeper to investigate.
That was going to be my next question. Are there any other entrances or exits?
No,
or is it
this seems to be like a single room.
Oh, it's
right?
a very... Okay.
Yeah, it's a small little kind of temple just tucked into this hill. The room itself is probably no bigger than like 40 square feet or 50 square feet, like on its base. Obviously, it goes higher than that cubically, but.
Oh, can we try to determine what kind of creature is being held by the chains? Like what it looks like?
Sure, it's a portrait of this like shadowy figure. It has no very perfectly well-defined features other than this like reaching hand. Its eyes are pitch kind of black, like darker than the rest of the creature. It is vaguely humanoid in shape, but it doesn't have like claws or extra legs. It's just this shadowy form clutched and cowered in chains.
Janlar, is this what you saw in the graveyard?
Very similar. The thing I saw in the graveyard had distinctively red eyes, but other than that, very similar.
I'm sorry, Rose, what were you saying?
It is painted on, right?
Correct.
But there's gemstones. How many gemstones are there?
As you go along the walls, embedded in the carved chains, there's 7 gemstones, roughly cut.
And they all look like they're all still there. Nothing's missing.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Could they be the eyes?
Gemstones?
look-
I don't think so.
If there were 2, I'd be more likely to believe it. But the depiction on the wall showed a 2-eyed beast. I doubt it would have 7. You said 7, right, Greg?
There are 7.
Yeah.
Didn't the crazy guy say that the beast had many eyes?
No, he
Yeah.
said it was everywhere.
But this doesn't have any religious symbolism in it, right? Like, even though this is some kind of shrine, we can't determine what it...
Heavily
what-
religious. It's
Yeah, it
an
seems-
ancient
it's-
and old religion that you
Oh,
don't
really old.
identify.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I got it.
But no, every inch of this screams religion in some way to you. Like,
The girl who died, she was killed by something, and Gurgle said it wasn't him that killed her, right?
correct.
Are there any signs of any other creatures in here, like shit or tracks or any other sign of an inhabitant besides the Gurgle?
You take a moment
dead girl.
to look around for some tracks. We'll keep your investigation from previously, or the survival from previously. And you see Gurgle's tracks, and you see the tracks of the 2 kids, and your own. But you don't see anything else, having nothing of tangible form that left tracks.
Okay. I'll ask Tom. You're a healer, right?
I am.
Can you tell what killed her?
So the body's pretty badly damaged. I'm not like a trained medic, unfortunately. I have like healing magic, but I'm not like a physical healer. I don't think I'd be able to discern, like, with how badly like chewed up and eaten her body is. I don't think I'd be able to tell. I mean, like, I could roll for it if Greg thinks that's reasonable, but I don't see that being like a thing that I could do.
You know, Gormak, I think I could roll for it.
Yeah.
If
Well,
you
I'm
like,
talking
do
out
you
of
want to
character.
investigate the? Do you want to investigate the? corpse to see
I
if you
just
can
don't
determine
really
it?
think Tom could do it, you know?
Okay, then yeah, maybe you don't.
Yeah, but I did have a thought. When I talked to that kid in the tavern, did he look sick? Like you said he was pale, right? But I figured he just saw some shit. Did he look like, was he like sweating? Was he like, did he have a cough or anything like that?
He did not seem to have any outward signs of illness. He seemed a lot like a kid kind
scared.
of school, but definitely shaken. Yeah.
Okay. I was, I think we might need to exhume that grave.
Yeah.
I don't know what else we can do here.
Onwards. Let's leave this place.
Is it worth spending time to detect magic around here, or should we just go back to the graveyard?
Probably.
I mean, it takes, what, 10 minutes to do?
Yeah.
Is there no writing in here whatsoever?
No.
Maybe any symbols that are related to the book or anything?
You've seen a page from the book in the writing, and you've seen the symbolism here. Go ahead and make an insight wisdom check to try to put the two together.
God, hold the phone.
I think the crazy guy did it in this cave.
I don't
19? 19's pretty good.
Okay. You are pretty certain that the images that you saw drawn by Emily are related in some way magically to this imagery of chains. It seems like the page that he had written on has the ability to potentially chain. They're shown this shielding, this grabbing, this chaining in the circle, the diagram that Emily drew on the page. How much they're related beyond that, you're not sure, but they're very similar.
You said the portrait of the chained thing was like reaching out, right?
Yes.
It's just a portrait, right? Like a two-dimensional like painting, or
Yes.
like a 2.5 dimensional like carving or something.
Yes.
Okay, it's not like a statue. Gormak's gonna walk over to it. It has like a hand out or something like that? Like you said,
It's
reaching.
like hunched and bound by these chains, and a single hand reaches out away from the rest of the figure.
All
It
right.
would be like into the foreground of the painting, I
Of the
guess.
thing.
Yeah.
Is its hand facing like backwards like that, or is it like outward like?
like it's going to grab something. Like
Okay.
this. Yeah.
Gormak's going to just like reach out and like touch the hand on the portrait. Anything happen?
No. You touch the portrait, and your fingers touch the fingers of the painted beast.
Okay. He's gonna push. Is it like a canvas or is it painted on stone?
Painted onto the stone wall.
Okay.
You push into
He's gonna
stone.
like punch it and see if there's any like indication that it's hollow or thin, or if this is like a solid stone wall.
You give it a nice punch. Ugh! It feels solid to you. It kind of hurts your hand a little bit after having punched it.
Okay. Gormak's just gonna look around, kind of look back at Tom and Janlar, and
Yeah, I guess I'll take 10 minutes to cast Detect Magic before we leave, but
Okay. Excellent. You spend some time casting Detect Magic. Once you've completed your ritual, you notice that the grayish kind of powder in the pouch on the altar radiates of magic, radiance of enchantment magic. And the 4 candles radiate a slight abjuration magic.
okay. I'll go over to those and pick them up off the counter.
Did you say there was writing?
No.
no, there's no writing.
And I'll take those with us. And as long as nothing
I can-
happens to me when I pick them
I
up.
can do comprehend languages as a ritual.
I think you still have to know the spell though.
Which ones did I take?
Okay, you take the candles and
Yeah, I'll take the candles
and the dust.
and the dust.
Okay. All right.
Can't really do anything with them yet, but I don't identify prepared or anything. So
Okay. You pocket a pouch of gray dust and 4 candles, purple with chains on them.
While he's casting that, I want to look around this room, and it looks like something was bound by the painting. I want to see if there's any signs of like a binding ritual that happened, something that's been broken.
Okay. How do you do that? How do you determine if there was a ritual here?
Are there any like physical signs in this room that this room was used for more than just like this altar and like
You're
a
standing in a circle of mosaic on the floor, which looks like a ritual circle.
Okay.
In an altar to a chained god. So.
Okay. So I guess I was looking more for like physical remnants, but I guess that's not.
There's not like a cage
like,
in
magic.
the corner.
Okay.
Right? Like there's not a cage with bars broken. There's like, you know.
Well, I was wondering more if there
Gurgle
was like
here, beware
a
the
physical
beast.
anchor that the magical chains would be rooted to or something,
No.
but
Is
Okay.
the circle broken? The ritual circle?
It is.
interesting.
That's not a Gormak question. Gormak doesn't know magic.
That's about all I can do at the moment. I don't even have any spell slots left, even if I had something prepared for this. Okay. Yeah, I guess after he grabs those items, we're gonna head out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
You leave the cave back out into the forest. As you do so, you realize rather quickly that the forest has a different sound to it. Where there was chirpings of birds and the rustling of animals, you don't really hear that as much anymore. Now you just hear this kind of slight breeze rushing through the underbrush and the leaves above you. It's kind of an eerie silence as you step out into the forest. You begin making your way back through the brush, making your way back through the rest of the forest. And as you get to the point where you expect to see the shrine, you begin hearing branches breaking and snapping. The ground itself seems like it's getting displaced, and you hear this first coming back behind you, but coming closer and closer. As you hear this like rushing through the underbrush towards you. What do you do?
I pull out my shield and my weapon, and I get ready to meet a charge.
All right. The rest of the party, I assume, does the same. As you turn to face this oncoming, bursting out of the brush behind you is this now fully visible and formed bestial black darkness. Its skin is inky black as the depths of night. It has large, protruding claws terminating the ends of its arms. It seems sharp and terrible. It has kind of a beaked face, and where its eyes would be, there's just nothing. It's just pits where the eyes could have been. It screams a blood-curdling scream. And launches itself at you. I would like everyone to roll initiative on this creature.
And then we're gonna fight it next time? Is that the idea?
We could, if you wanted to cliffhanger really hard right there.
Well, I think
I mean,
somebody had to leave like right at 4.
Somebody
right?
has to leave on point. I'm not sure if we
Four,
could
so
get rid of it in 9 minutes.
Either all be murdered or victorious in 8 minutes.
All right. Well, I guess we will cliffhang combat right there. Thank you all for coming and playing with me. I hope you guys had a lot of fun. It was good for me.
Yeah.
You guys enjoyed.
I'm glad it wasn't an owlbear. I was really afraid it was going to be an owlbear coming bursting in the corner.
It is.
He
You're
reskinned
kidding, right?
his
That's
owl
irony.
bears. Joke's
Yeah.
on you.
Irony, right?
This black shifting physical darkness is much more comforting than an owlbear.
It is.
Question is,
Yeah,
is it
no,
better
no,
or
no,
worse? It's like
Well, I don't. Yeah, we'll talk about it some other time.
Alrighty. Well, anything to shout out before we end the session here?
From this game to
X-
another one.
XP.
Yeah.
XP.
I mean, first I'm
Alright.
interested
A
that
lot
I'm
of
sorry,
it
okay?
You
XP is a
defeated
class people.
you defeated no monsters today.
We did sort of defeat a combat by intimidating our way out of it.
You did you did intimidate poor Gurgi. Poor Gurgi. Alright, well that is a CR1 monster. So
Wait, he was CR1? He had
Yes.
a +8?
he's very strong and he's very, very mentally weak.
I can relate.
Yeah. So everyone, I think you should split that 100 experience. No. You did learn some things about the mystery here. Not as much as I anticipated you learning, but
I feel like we're generally going slower than you anticipate.
a little bit. Yeah, I might have to dial back on my planning here. But for the advancements you made in the story, we'll have 200 experience for each of you for that, and I guess split that 100 amongst 5, so 220 experience for the lot of you.
Okay, and I assume we'll be leveling like when we have a chance to.
I
save
know that levels you. We'll level you.
Yeah, when we can rest.
Combat when you can rest. Yeah.
Hold on, what are we on right now?
320 total.
320. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Alrighty.
I hit the point where do I become a rogue bard or do I just focus?
We'll talk about that another time. Alrighty. Well, thank you very much for playing with me. I will see you next week at the same time, same place.
Yep.
Be here.
Perfect. Have a great week, chat. Hope to see you then as well. Adios.
Bye.